Hi, Krishna. Very happy to be with you again. Must have been a few years ago, but yeah. This evening I would like to speak on an essential verse of the Bhagavad Gita that, and I think most of you may know this verse. But before I speak on Bhagavad Gita, I would like to pray for the blessings of Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas. Om Ajnana Timranasya Janam Janam Janakam Akshur Militam Yena Tasmi Shri Gurave Namah Ichitayamanopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Shamukadam Namdadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shio Shioda Padakamanam Shiom Vaishnavamsha Devopam Jajatam Saganaragnatam Tam Tam Sankivam Sadvaitam Sarutam Vaijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saganalita Shikshakam Vitam Sham He Krishna Karuna Sindhudina Bhanujat Pate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchna Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavana Sutta Devi Pranamama Haripriye Vangha Kalpa Visha Kripa Shinvevisha Bhaktinam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Srivasandi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Nuyavadi Pashatami. So this evening I would like to speak on the second verse of the Bhagavad Gita chapter Shloki 10:9. That these are very essential verses. The first verse of the chapter Shloki describes Krishna's position and the position of the souls who are dedicated to serving Krishna and how they come to that position and what they do in that position. That's described in the verse today. And by performing the activities mentioned in the verse we will discuss today, Krishna will start to cleanse our heart. So in that sense, it's an essential verse. It's also an encouraging verse. And also in the purport, in the commentary of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada makes so many he makes so many practical points for us to understand how developing love for Krishna is a process you have to go through. A process with stages. And if you know the stages, then you can understand where you are in the process and what you have to do to go to the next stage. It's not all black and white, but generally there are good guidelines for us to make spiritual advancement. If we study Shastra, then always the point is we try to understand the spiritual techniques that are explained within this verse and in the commentary of Srila Prabhupada. And then we have to understand, what does that mean for my life? Introspection. And then when we understand here, okay, that this is important for me, how am I going to apply this? And if I applied it, what should be the result? That requires also a process that of how to apply it. Because if the Shastra, if this all these verses of Bhagavad Gita, it's not a question of memorizing or whatever, or what else. Theoretical, spiritual knowledge is of no value. At the time of death, you lose it. What do you take with you? The practice and realization from it. The vihya, that is what you take with you. As Srila Prabhupada in another purpose says, yeah, it says in 931, Nami Bhaktya Pranashati, my devotee never perishes, and it says that also in the second chapter in a verse 241 to 240, there it says, yeah, that this knowledge will protect you against the greatest danger. And in the purpose of Prabhupada says, yes, if one has made 2% advancement in this life, then next life you start with 2%. You never lose it. But this 2% is what we have realized. So that's important. That if we want to benefit, it's nice to read, to hear discourses, and the speaker speaks nice, but then what do you have after it? That's the point. That's not the purpose. The purpose is that we hear it, and there's a churning in our hearts. That's important. So I will try to recite this verse, but before we hear from Bhagavad Gita, because hearing Bhagavad Gita, it's spoken by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this knowledge is called Aparuseya. Aparuseya means by human beings. Aparuseya is not from a human being. So this is not knowledge that comes from a human being. It's not some religion concocted. No, it's Krishna speaking directly. Yeah, his absolute, his opinion has value, our opinion. Okay, we start with glorifying Krishna, and also we have glorified before his representative Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master. This is important if we want to understand this knowledge. This knowledge is factually understood through its representatives. We should never see that disconnected, because the mercy to understand it comes to the representatives. Therefore we glorify Lord Krishna with the words Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Many of you may know this verse. If you know it, repeat. Machita Matgata Prana. Machita Matgata Prana. Machita Matgata Prana. Machita Matgata Prana. So, mat chitta. Chitta means minds. Their minds. Not gata prana. Prana means their lives. Prana means also life, air, like their lives. So their minds and their life was dedicated to what? Bodhayanta parasparam.
Bodhayanta parasparam.
Bodhayanta parasparam.
Bodhayanta parasparam.
So, Bodhayanta. Bodhayanta means that Shilpa translates as preaching, talking to each other. Bodhayanta Parashpara means among themselves. Bodhayanta Parashpara. And then what did they preach amongst themselves? Katayanta samam nityam. They were talking, Katayanta. About what? Samam nityam. About me, Krishna says. Nityam, always. Okay. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha.
Tushyanti cha ramanti cha.
What was the result? Ramanti cha. They enjoyed it very much. So these are the great devotees, the pure devotees of the Lord. They enjoy very much speaking about Krishna among themselves. And that is their life. Their mind cannot be deviated from that. We will hear more about that. So the translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always alighting one another and conversing about me. So where is their mind? It's dwelling on Krishna, always dwelling on Krishna. That's the last instruction of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Manmana, fix your mind on me. Always think of me. And what happens when you do that? Bhavamat bhakto, then you become Krishna's devotee. But you must always think of this. So the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me, and their lives are fully dedicated to my service. Fully dedicated, 100%. Always engaged in thinking of Krishna, in serving Krishna, in thinking how to serve Krishna, that in speaking with each other how to serve Krishna, that always they were doing that. Always. That their mind was always with Krishna. That if our mind is always with Krishna, then we don't have time for the listening to the mind. No time anymore. No time for Maya anymore. Finished. Only thinking of Krishna. Yes, because that is what we should always do. You do something else, Maya is there. And it's heavy. Heavy becomes misery from the beginning till the end. Even thinking of enjoying without Krishna, your misery begins already by thinking, by making plans. That's what Prahlad Maharaj said, that Misery begins by making plans for enjoyment. Already it starts. But they had no time for it. So fully dedicated to my service. And what was the result? They derive great satisfaction and bliss from enlightening one another. And conversing about great satisfaction. Dat is wat Sutta Goswami says in the Bhagavatam. Tavai punsa paroda moon yato bhakti radoksai. Ahai tukapati yatayam shupashidati. The highest occupation for humankind is to engage in activity of the soul. And that is serving Krishna. And that must have two qualities. Uninterrupted, always, otherwise married. And a high-tuki, no material goes. We don't want anything back in return for it, only for Krishna. That, like what Chaitanya says, Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitaba Sri Kamayi. That, Janma Janma Janmanishvari Bhakta Bhakta Haitukit Vain. He says, I don't want well followers, no beautiful women. I just want your service, Krishna, your causeless service. That birth after birth, he says. He does not want even liberation. That's pure religion. That's pure. It's not like people go to the church or the mosque and pray for God. Please give me this, give me that. Yeah, they are. Yeah. Sometimes Hindus also. They have that also sometimes. Yeah. Oh God, give me a beautiful wife, a big car, and a house at the sea. Jagati Jagatisa Hari. Yeah. That's, but no, that's not pure. And that's contaminated. Even if you want something and you serve Krishna, it's not pure devotional service. It's in the modes of nature, Lord Kapila Dev explained. It's also good, but it will not purify you much. So very, very slow. That then you become like the demigods. They are also doing that. They want to serve Krishna, but they want to control in what they want. So if we practice that pure, then you act on the transcendental platform. Like in Nectar of Devotion, there and Srila Prabhupada quotes that verse many times. Iya yasya hari. Yeah. Iya yasya. Good. That said, a pure devotee, he uses his body, mind, and words in the service of Krishna, and then he acts on a liberated platform. Iya yasya redasye karmana manasakri Nicholas apavasyastu Shiva Mukta. Shiva Mukta. Yeah. Then one becomes Shiva Mukta. One acts as a liberated soul. It's by using all his body, mind, and words in the service of Krishna, one may be not yet be liberated, but he will be imperceptibly liberated, so Prabhupada says. And that's Iya Yasyari, Dasya Kamanam Sangre, Nicholas Apavasya Shiva Mukta Sanapuchate. So, Imam Shiva Mukta, being in the body, but liberated. So we will see what Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, but in this purport, so many important things are there. We will go to it line by line. Pure devotees whose characteristics are mentioned here engage themselves fully in the transcendental service of the Lord. Their minds cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of Krishna. Their thoughts are solely on the transcendental subjects. The symptoms of the pure devotee are described in this verse specifically. So their minds, these pure devotees, their mind cannot be deviated from Krishna. When Akrura came and he took Krishna away, the gopis wanted to prevent it, but finally Krishna had to go with Akrura. But then after that, the gopis came together and said, he left us. Another gopi said, yes, he left us. Why are we still speaking about him? Another gopi said, yes, let us forget him. He is now the object of attraction of the damsels of Mathura. So why should we still be speaking about him? Another gopi said, yes, let's forget him. How he smiled so sweetly. And another gopi said, yes, let's forget him. How beautiful he is. Another gopi said, yes, let's forget him. How we gallant him. Another gopi said, yes, let's forget him. Let's forget how he so sweetly danced with us. But it went on like this. They could not stop speaking about Krishna. They never stopped speaking about Krishna. They wanted to forget him, but yes, it didn't happen. That we try to become devotees, and we are struggling to think about Krishna. And so quickly our mind goes somewhere else. But these gopis, their mind cannot be deviated even for a moment. Not possible for them. So that is a very high level. So these are the symptoms of the pure devotees. They cannot think of anything else than Krishna. So devotees of the Supreme Lord are 24 hours daily engaged in glorifying the qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Their hearts and souls are constantly submerged in Krishna, and they take pleasure in discussing him with other devotees. So that's the purpose when we come together. We should speak about Krishna. You can speak about Krishna in many ways. Bhagavad Gita is very important. You can also read Krishna book and discuss. That sometimes the devotees do that also. They do that also. Sometimes we have reading Krishna book together. And nice. Srila Prabhupada said, every evening before going to bed, we should read Krishna book. Then the last thing you have done is mostly the first thing you remember in the morning. So then your thoughts are with Krishna. That's nice. But we are not on the level of these gopis. We are in the preliminary stage of devotional service. So Prabhupada writes, in the preliminary stage of devotional service, they relish the transcendental pleasure from the service itself. From the service itself. And in the mature stage, they are actually in love of God in a mature stage. But in the beginning, we don't have this love, but we try to serve Krishna. And if you serve Krishna with the proper inner attitude, you feel satisfied. But we must practice it properly to feel the satisfaction. What is that practice properly? That practice properly means with the proper inner attitude. And this proper inner attitude is described by Lord Chaitanya. That one should be more humble than grass in the street, more tolerant than a tree. One should not ask any honor for oneself, give all honor to others. In that state of mind, one should always, one can constantly chant holy name, but to get access to that, to the transcendental platform, even as a neophyte, and to feel that satisfaction, these two things are required: tolerance and humility. And that's the first thing Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Dinos menchati kamam charanam charan tata vyanta bhakti iras tatra namuyati. Your body changed, Virgin, from boyhood to youth to old age. You must tolerate these changes. Become a dhira. Tolerating. Krishna speaks in the beginning that the first instruction he gives to Arjuna, after he tells him, you are not a body, you must tolerate. And what tolerate? Matras pastkanta situshna sukadukada agama paina nityastam stikshas vabharata. Arjuna, like heat in the summer, cold in the winter, you must tolerate this so-called happiness and distress. Because that's the point. Material energy, we become affected by the material energy if we are interested in this happiness and distress, in this attachment and aversion. We want to have that which gives us happiness. We don't want what gives us distress. But the happiness and distress is for the body, not for the soul. The soul has nothing to do with it. So Krishna says, don't give your attention to the body. Just tolerate it. Tolerate it. And if you can tolerate it, Krishna says, Yamina vyatatanti te purushakshava samudaka sukam yam zoni tatvaya kalpate. If you can tolerate this happiness and this stress, you are a good candidate for liberation, Krishna says. Liberation from the influence of this raga, dvesha, attachment and aversion. Because otherwise, we become a servant of this attachment and aversion in the mind. And most people are servants of their minds. They're not good, because the servant of the mind means Maya. And Maya wants to remain here in the material world. No, we must become servants of Krishna. So to come out of this Maya, we must learn to tolerate that and fix your mind on your devotional service. Don't think of this good and bad for the body. Just forget about it and concentrate on your service for Krishna. I was sometimes about to say, I have too much service. That's a blessing. Yeah. No time for Maya. Always fixing your mind on Krishna. So when devotee asked Srila Prabhupada in a morning lecture, Srila Prabhupada, do you have lust in your mind? And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, of course, he had no lust in his mind. But then later that morning, he went to the car and to drive to another temple, and the devotee asked this question, opened the door of the car. I looked at the devotee and says, yes, I have lust in my mind, but I have no time for it. So that's the point. No time for this attachment and adoration. So that's the first thing to come to the spiritual path. And then you must have knowledge. The second thing needed. In verses 8 to 12 in the 13th chapter, Krishna gives 20 items of knowledge. And the first is Adamnitva, Amamnitva. It's humility. Humility. Without humility, Krishna does not give you knowledge to the heart. That if we think we know everything, we say, okay, you know everything, you do it yourself. That's it. That it never works out. Yeah. So that's humility. In this verses 8 to 12, yeah, in the 13th chapter, you have 20 items of knowledge. And to get knowledge, one must be humble, yes. But the two most important things, you take shelter of a spiritual master with humility and learn from him devotional service. And if you practice devotional service, all the other items will develop to come to the liberated platform. Then you will understand, oh, this old age, birth, death, and disease, that's evil. You start to understand. Your mind becomes clear for a moment. So these two are important. If we strive to practice it properly with these two items, tolerance and humility, and we dedicate our body, minds, and words, we invest everything, our consciousness completely in the service, you will feel satisfied, because this service is your relationship with Krishna. Because that knowledge then develops, you understand, Krishna is the supreme Lord, the cause of everything, he controls everything, Maya, Dakshina, Prakriti, he's seated in everyone's heart, that from him comes remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness, or whatever, it's all dependent on him. And Krishna says, I'm his servant, I'm a part and parcel. And the relationship is bhakti. That's what Krishna explains in. He speaks about other yoga systems, but that's all only steps coming to bhakti. Because here he speaks about that satisfaction. Jnana, yoga, and attaining liberation will not give you transcendental happiness. No, Ananda. You will not feel satisfied. You will feel happy because there is no misery anymore if you attain liberation, Brahman, but no satisfaction. That's mentioned in the 14th chapter of the 10th canto of Brahman, says yeah. Yen yere vendakshya muktamanas payastvara avisuddhabhaya udaya. That this impersonalist who want to serve or want to merge with Brahman, they think themselves liberated. But factually, they are not liberated. Only Abhishuddha Buddhaya, their intelligence is deranged, that's all. because when you come out of the hospital, you come out of the hospital and you say, I'm staying in the hospital, I'm not going anywhere. Is that what you should do? Hang around in the hospital after you are cured? No, you go back to your normal activities. And a normal activity of the soul is to serve Krishna. The soul must be active. It is in the body active. Srila Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita, when the soul is so active in the body, why should it not be active outside the body? That it's always active. And we need relationships. And this relationship with Krishna is our ultimate relationship. All the other relationships will go. That we have got so many lifetimes, so many children, so many troubles in past lives. Do we remember them? Not one of these relationships. It's all gone. But our relationship with Krishna remains eternally. That's the relationship with Krishna. That gives Ananda. That's Sat Chit Ananda. Sat is realized with Brahman realization. Good, we are eternal. And you merge with Brahman, you are there for a few millions of years, and it feels good. What a peace after suffering. But after a few million years, it's boring, nothing to do. We want activity. So they come back. Yeah, Aruya Krishna Padam Padam Padam. Krishna says. Well, Lord Brahma says to Lord Krishna. They after Aruya Krishna, after a great endeavor, they attained liberation, but then they fall back. They want activity. So only Sat is not, and Sat Chit is the yogis. They realize that what the goal of yoga is, Chitatma, Prasantasma, Paramatma Samhita, to reach the super soul. So they find the super soul in the heart, and they realize the super soul controls material nature. Good, and what then? They stay here, but so they are not going to the spiritual world. They may go merge with Brahman, but they will not feel satisfied. No, then they must become the highest yogi, Krishna says. Yoginam apisarvasam matyanantaratmanam chadabhavachetesh yomam samyuktatamema. Highest yogi is one who is always with me, united in love, bhakti, in the heart. Then they must become devotees. And because without becoming devotees, no ananda, no bliss. Yeah. So, but those who are on the mature stage, they are always in that bliss. That's the pure devotees. Some a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, Mataji, went to Prabhupada and he showed a picture of Prabhupada and he said to Prabhupada, it looks like you look depressed on that picture. And Prabhupada looked at it. Oh yeah, I remember that moment. I felt great ecstasy at that moment. But you can't see from the outside. Inside, that these pure devotees are always feeling that ecstasy. And also these gopis were always ecstatic, and it's so ecstatic, and they start more and more to speak about Krishna, and it becomes more ecstatic, and they cannot stop. It's because they have param drishtva nivartate. They have got a higher taste. We need higher taste to go on. Yeah, that cookbook, higher taste. So devotees who come to this movement, who were meat-eaters before, easily to give up. This prashadam is much better, higher taste. That's the first regulative principle they follow. That's easy to do. So unless we feel connected, that connection with Krishna, we cannot give up the lower taste. But if you practice it properly, you will be situated in that higher taste. If you are not feeling satisfied in your devotional service, there is something really wrong with your attitude. And to understand that, where it goes wrong, you must understand the process. And here in the Bprs, Srila Prabhupada explains the process. And he starts with reciting or paraphrasing a verse from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita spoken by Lord Chaitanya. Brahmanda Brahmati Konya Bhagavan Jiva Krishna Prasadi Bhai Bhakti Lata Beach. That's the verse. He says, Brahmanda Brahmati, Brahma Anda, the egg of Brahma. Lord Chaitanya has sense of humor. He says, he calls the universe is like an egg, according to the Bible. And it's the egg of Brahma's egg. And what do we do in that egg? Brahmite. We go up and down, up and down. We go to the, up and down. Sometimes we are a demigod, sometimes we are an ant, sometimes we are a woman, stool, a dog, a cat, or sometimes a cow, sometimes a human, sometimes higher human beings. Yeah, we go up and down. That's on the Ferris wheel. Ferris wheel goes up, down, So an endless cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. But yes, an endless cycle. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada says in another purpose of Bhagavad Gita, we are nitya badha. We are eternally conditioned. It does not mean that we have to remain eternally conditioned, but Srila Prabhupada explains eternally conditioned, nitya badha, means that we can not trace back our history when we became conditioned. Cannot trace that back. Impossible. So Brahmana Brahmite. Many times we are going up and down. And we all think I'm a man, I'm a woman, I belong to this nation or that nation, I have this profession, I'm this, that. It's all. And then slowly they leave their body and all their designations are gone, and then all their studies, PhD, this, that, and then back in the next body, again a child, again learning everything from zero. And that's what we do, Brahmana Brahmite, go up and down. But then it's a Konya Bhagyavan Jiva. Then if the soul becomes Bhagyavan, fortunate, Krishna Prasadi Bhai. By the mercy of Krishna, then by the mercy of Krishna, one meets a bona fide spiritual master. And then the spiritual master gives you a seat of devotional service. That's a cooperation between Krishna and the spiritual master. Because he brings the disciple to the spiritual master. He needs the kind of disciple he needs. And then the spiritual master instructs the disciple that gives the seed of bhakti, plants it in the heart. And then one must water the seed. One must water the seed that by hearing and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Rama. And then the seed fructifies, just as the seed of a tree fructifies with regular watering. So we engaged in 9 forms of devotional service, which is Shravana, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, the most important of the 9. Because if we chant Hare Krishna, we hear about Krishna, we chant about Krishna, and we should remember also. That's important. That's the most important point, that's the internal. Manmana, remember Krishna. It's not that we chant on automatic pilot and the mind does something else. That's not chanting. That's not watering the seed. That becomes problematic, that chanting. It's offensive. Why is that? We must chant. Who are we? So someone came to a devotee, said to another devotee, didn't you see you this morning in the Bhagavatam class? And the devotee said, no, I was there, I was sitting there at the back. Yes, I saw that your body was there, but I saw your mind was somewhere else. So your consciousness must be there. If you chant, your consciousness must be there with Krishna. Otherwise, it's not like, I asked, 20 years ago, I asked Parananamachan, the devotee asked, can we chant while we are driving? And his answer was, if you chant while driving and you give all your attention to the traffic, your chanting is offensive. And, or if you chant while driving and you completely absorb in the chanting, you are a danger for the traffic. No, it's not going together. We must be there with our consciousness as much as possible. But of course, there may be sometimes urgency situations in which we do that, but better chant than not chant, but it's third class, it's to be avoided. But yes, we should chant and hear. So performing this 9 forms of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Archanam, deity worship, worship of the deity, Vandanam, prayers, Pada Sevanam, serving the lotus feet of the Lord in the deity form. That Shravan, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Darsam, Sakyam, Atmani Vednam, Sakyam. Engage in a relationship of friendship with Krishna. Krishna is your best friend. Life after life is with you. It's good to have Krishna as your friend. And Atmani Vednam, surrender unto him. Follow all his instructions in Bhagavad Gita. That's Atmani Vednam. Surrender your life completely to him. And then the spiritual plant of devotional service gradually grows. It grows. When it starts growing and you practice it properly, we spoke about this practically properly now, then it will have the plant, from the seed comes 2 leaves. On one leaf, it's written Klesagni. And of the other, Subhadha. That happens from the beginning. Klesagni, Subhadha. Klesagni, Klesha, Agni. Klesha. All your miseries are burnt away. No misery, but something else. Not, mostly people in Kali Yuga are busy with all their problems, one problem after another, but they cannot solve it. But anyway, they do their best, and they become completely absorbed, and that's their life. It's a life of misery. And the more things you are, the more you become miserable. But externally, we have so many things, but it becomes miserable. So Klesha, Agni, and Subhada, your life becomes very auspicious. Everything becomes auspicious. That auspicious means you feel you are making progress on the spiritual platform, and you become more happy. That you become selfless. You give up lust, anger, and greed, no time for it. That and you develop all the qualities of a devotee. That people feel that you are a person that not want to, and that you don't want to exploit them. That's, yeah, that. I remember my first contact with devotees. That's 35 years ago. That I met devotees for the first time, and they were very nice to me. They were giving me sweets. Someone gives you a sweet, you think, oh, this person loves me. So they were so kind with me. But I was not pure in heart. I was thinking, they're so kind with me. What do they want from me? That's the materialistic calculation in relationships. What do they want from me? But if you become a devotee, you develop these qualities, and everyone starts to see you as a friend. And that, of course, does not mean that the devotee has no enemies. He doesn't see anyone as an enemy, but those who are really envious of Krishna, they become the enemies of the devotees. Nothing we can do about that. Krishna protects us. So the spiritual plant of devotion serves healthy, grows, and it penetrates the coverings of the material universe, enters the Brahma Jyoti, folds in the spiritual sky. In the spiritual sky, also, that plant grows more and more until it reaches the highest planet, which is called Goloka Vrindavan, the supreme planet of Krishna. So what does that mean? Devotional service, first we have to enter Brahman. So there are, in devotional life, there are 3 phases Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. At the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna concludes. He says there is confidential knowledge, there is more confidential knowledge, and there is most confidential knowledge, 3 levels. And first he speaks about the confidential knowledge. 1854, Brahma Bhuta Pashanat Manushushtina Kankshati, Samsavesha Bhushimad Bhaktim Navate Param. That's the platform of Brahman, when one has realized that is not a body, but spirit soul. And what's the symptom? We can test ourselves. If you don't desire anything in this world, and you don't want, and you don't lament about anything, you are on that platform. But not hankering for anything means that the material desires have become 0. That's a high platform of liberation. And that's only the first platform. How do we come to that platform? By the chanting of the holy name. That we have to, before we come, that platform is by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Madhurya Kanambini is called, that platform is called Nishta, studying devotional service. Like these gopis, they were always busy with Krishna, study, no other things than service. Of course, they had love for God, but that's a higher platform. They were always busy studying devotional service. No time anymore for anything else. But if you have material desires will drag you down. And you will not be able to do that. So these material desires, they are therefore called anartha. Artha means wealth. Our wealth is our relationship with Krishna. This anartha, it takes us away from our real wealth. So therefore, to come to Nishta of this Brahma Buddha platform, you first have to go to 4 stages before. The first stage is Shraddha. You have faith. At least you accept Krishna is God and you try it out. And therefore, sadhusanga. You accept the spiritual master and the association of devotees. Devotees teach you how to perform devotional service. And you start with a bhajana kriya, sadhana. You start to chant 16 rounds and doing activities in devotional service, doing service on so many ways that, and then this bhajana kriya, this doing service, has 2 levels, anishtita and nishtita. Anishtita, bhajana kriya means unstudied. Sometimes we chant 4 rounds, sometimes the next day 6 rounds, the next day 2 rounds. Some days we get up at 4 o'clock, sometimes we get up at 8 o'clock. We are not studying that. In our mind, we are not studying. Sometimes we are very enthusiastic. I'm going to leave my family, I'm going to Vrindavan chanting 16 rounds for the rest of my life. But the next day, the brahmachari thinks, maybe I should start a Krishna conscious family, and that's maybe better. And then his mind goes from one thing to another. Unsteady. That's a period of unsteadiness. And we go all to that period to come up to at least 16 rounds and getting up every morning, taking a shower and follow the principles. It takes a while. But then at a certain moment you become steady, nishtita. And that's good, steadiness. But then still the heart does not become purified. That's not sufficient. Then you have to enter from nishtita, bhajana kriya, you have to go to anartha nivritti, the purification to the heart. And that purification of the heart, it means the removal of these anarthas. These anarthas will only be removed if you chant with the proper inner attitude. And what is, there are 4 kinds of anarthas. That's a bit technical, but anarthas that come from our past sinful activities. By that we are attached to enjoyment and we cannot give it up. That we are suffering. And we are suffering so much that it's difficult to fix our mind on this. That anarthas. But there are anarthas from previous pious activities, good activities, that gives you enjoyment. And you become more attached to the enjoyment than to the chanting and service of Krishna. That's another anartha. But these anarthas are not so important. If when you chant Hare Krishna, these reactions will be destroyed. But what will not be destroyed is nama parad, is the wrong inner attitude when you chant. So, and that's called offenses. This anartha nivritti is called by Haridas Thakur, who was appointed the Acharya for the Holy Name by Lord Chaitanya. And he said, yes, when one chants the Holy Name, one must avoid offenses, that because when we avoid the offenses, our heart may still be impure, but we avoid the offenses, we come to Namabas, and that is Anachtonivati, a shadow of the Holy Name, because we are chanting the Holy Name, but not a pure name, because pure name you can chant after liberation, not before. But, therefore, we must avoid these 10 offenses. And these 10 offenses have to do with forms of disrespect in our mind and our heart. Disrespect to the devotees, and disrespect to the holy name, disrespect to the scriptures, disrespect to the spiritual master. That different forms of disrespect. So these 10 offenses are first to disrespect the devotees who dedicate their life for the propagating of the holy name, all the devotees. Or thinking that the holy name is, the potency of the holy name is the same as the names of Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, or demigods, not understanding the superiority of Krishna's names. Or to disrespect the orders of the spiritual master, or to blaspheme the Vedic literature, because all the Vedic literature, Vedasa Sarvami Vavidya, is to know Krishna. That's the purpose. Krishna saved him by that. So we should respect all the Vedic literature. They are for different people at different stages, okay, but should respect. Or think the chanting of the holy name is imagination, or give some interpretation of the holy name, of thinking, I chant Hare Krishna, and I do some sinful activities, and then I chant, and that will be eradicated. That will not work. You cannot commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. And you cannot explain this secret of the holy names to those who are faithless, who are against Krishna. And we should always be attentive while chanting, that and not remain attached to things in this material world, even after receiving and understanding so many instructions from our spiritual master. So these are 10 offenses. And Srila Prabhupada, he gave us these 10 offenses from the beginning, and gave it to all the temples, saying that you should recite it every morning before you chant the holy name. But we understand. And then by overcoming these offenses, that we cannot, how can we overcome these offenses? It's not easy. Sometimes it's deep-rooted. Therefore, we must hear every day Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. If you hear everything Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, that will help you to come in the right mood and overcome these offenses. So it's not just chanting, it's also hearing Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada gave us this morning program. There's chanting, there's hearing. And that's what the gopis do. They chant, they hear, they discuss. That's the process. And then you will be able to overcome it. Mostly that's a process that takes 30, 40 years. And then you come to liberation. It's high. You don't take birth again. But to get the highest destination, you must go further. This is also a stage. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this Brahma Bhuta stage is the first stage. And the next stage, I will give you more confidential knowledge, Krishna says. And he says, Ishvara Chava Bhutnam Vichayunatisti Brahmyam Chava Bhutanam Yamte Udai Maya. Yante Rodaya Maya, yeah, said, I'm sitting in everyone's heart, and I'm conducting the wandering of all living entities who are seated on a machine made of material energy. So that's the next stage. We are seeing Krishna in everyone's heart. The Pandit, he sees Krishna in the heart of every living entity, an elephant, a dog eater, a Brahman, he sees. Because Krishna says in the sixth chapter also of Bhagavad Gita, one who sees me in everyone's hearts, he will never be lost to me, and I will be never lost to him. So that's a very high stage. That because after Nishtha, liberation, comes Ruchi. If your heart is pure and you hear about Krishna, you become automatically attracted. Sukadev Goswami stayed 12 years in the womb of his mother. He didn't want to come out. And Krishna, Vyasadeva had to get Krishna to speak to him in the womb, and I said, okay, Krishna says, I don't understand. You don't want to come out because you are afraid of becoming in a condition again. I bless you that when you take birth, you will be liberated. So I was liberated from birth. He came out of the womb, and he was walking to the forest immediately. His father was calling, my son, but only the echo came back from the trees. But he got him back in, because he was liberated. Atmaram, he asked his disciples to go to the forest and quote verses from the Bhagavatam like Tavakatamritam Takta Jivanam Kaprititam Kalmasabham Shavnamangalam Shimatatam Purihinati Buridakana. That which verses which describe Krishna and speaking about Krishna. And when he heard these verses, he became attracted. And by that, they got him back into the ashram. So if one is when has a pure heart, you become automatically attracted by Krishna, Ruchi. And then when that attraction is like an iron to a magnet. And then you see Krishna always in your heart, like the yogis. You see, because your heart is pure. If your heart is pure, you feel Krishna. You experience him. And that's called transcendental television, asakti. Prabhupada calls asakti that stage of finding Krishna in your heart is a higher stage. That transcendental television, he says, we have all this transcendental television in our heart, but our television set is now broken. You have to repair it by purifying our heart. So that's a higher stage. But then Krishna says, no, in the Bhagavad Gita, I will give you the most confidential knowledge. And he speaks verses 8, chapter 18, verses 65 till 69. The supreme instruction. He says, Manmana, always think of me. Bhavamat Bhaksha, become my devotee. If you become my devotee, what do? Majai, you worship me. Mam Namaskar, you offer respect. That and Savdam Visham Mamakam Samam Amtvam Sabapabyo Moksha Ishyami Matcha. Don't worry, Krishna says, I will take care of you. That just surrender unto me, follow my instructions. If we follow these instructions nicely and chant nicely with attention, we follow the process of chanting, then what will happen? Yes, we will attain this level of our heart will become purified we come to liberation, we find Krishna in the heart, and then love for Krishna, bhava comes. The first signs of love of Krishna. And then when that deepens, comes more condensed, that comes condensed bliss, then it becomes prema, love for Krishna. That Krishna purifies our heart only if we have the proper inner attitude. That's important. And then we will find Krishna in the heart, and at the time of death we will be transferred to Goloka Vrindavan. That's what explained here. But even if we are not reaching that perfection, we have to take birth again. We will take birth in a family of pure devotees. We will get it next slide. But for sure. So this is the process of this Machita Machat Pram Bodhi and Spam Katmansman Temptation Tisha Ramans. We should always do that. That's our activity as devotee, because if we do that, then we feel love for Krishna. Krishna says, Tesham Satyuknam Bacham Kritikokam Dadami Buddhyogantam Yenamam Opyam. Even if you serve him with a little love, I will in the heart give you Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means it purifies your heart. That it gives you realization. Tesham Epanakampatam Amam Pyana Chamtamanas Chamapavavastagam. With the dose of knowledge within the heart, I will purify the devotee. And we will go to that process, and we attain this love of God. So that is what I wanted to explain, and tomorrow I think I will give the Sunday talk, and there I will speak about how Krishna cares for us personally within that process. That's interesting. Because Krishna says, I will take care of you. How does he do that? That's for tomorrow. Very question. Any questions?
Thank you, Maharaj, for wonderful advice. Thank you very much. Anybody has any question? Don't be shy to ask. This is our chance to churn our heart. Maharaj, I will start. I have one question. So you in the beginning of the class, you asked, you said that our service to Krishna is ahetuki, meaning no, we don't ask anything. We just serve. What if I serve Krishna and ask for his mercy to get to purify me? Is it too much to ask?
You can ask that, but you have still to do your part. That Krishna reciprocates with your attitude. Prahlad Maharaj is now in Harivarsa, in Jambudvip. That somewhere in this universe is still there and is worshipping a date of Lord Nrsimhadev in the 5th canto. It's mentioned there. And there he prays 2 verses. And one of these verses, Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Asya Vibhava Vachidanka Pachidam Skama Shamarandaya Tamogasa Kasa Abhyamatmi Vyustyam Sham. Lord Nrsimhadev, you have these nails very sharp like scissors. Please go into my heart and take everything away which hinders my relationship with you. Do the operation. in the purport Srila Prabhupada says, we should have the courage to pray like this. Devotees should learn to pray like this and have the courage to pray like this. Because mostly we say to Krishna, yes, yes, Krishna, purify me, take me away all my attachment, but not right now. I want still to do that and that. And that's a problem. So it depends also on us. If we really want to become purified, you must be sincerely pray like that. Not just the words. You must be ready for whatever Krishna, the test he gives you. I know one senior devoted Prabhupada disciple, and she was in Vrindavan and she was praying to the deity, please take away everything what's an obstacle to me and you. And when she came home, she got the news her husband had a relationship with someone else. So that was the obstacle, her attachment to her husband. That was to, yeah. And she got rid of that attachment. So you must be ready for what Krishna gives you. Because if you don't desire that, desire is a kind of prayer of the soul. Our desires are prayers. So we can pray to Krishna, Yahweh, please take it away, but in our heart we desire, I've still this plan and that and that. But it doesn't work. So we have to do our part. That's the point. That, yes, we should pray like that. But we have to do our part and be ready for it. Yeah, because all these attachments are futile. Soon you have to leave the body. And what with the husband in your life before, and the life before, and the life before? Are you still thinking of them? I give you a picture of you in your previous life. You are a woman, and there are your 10 sons. What does it say to you? Nothing. It's all futile. Maya, illusion. But still, we have to play our role. But externally, we play our role, but internally, yeah, we push. That's the point. That help?
Yes, yes.
Not too happy.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, that's my function. I have to explain things as they are to the point I understand how they are from Prabhupada.
How do we know that the obstacle between God and us is what? Because like what you were saying, that if I say I want to get rid of my obstacles to come to you.
Yeah.
So maybe tomorrow some of my member or somebody dies, and maybe that is we think that there is the obstacle, and then we will concentrate our mind with the God. So how do we know like what is our obstacle?
You take your beads, you start chant Hare Krishna. You try to think of Krishna. Do you think 16 rounds of Krishna? That mostly not. A few beats and the mind goes somewhere else. That are your obstacles. It's not difficult. Okay.
Maharaj, there are so many.
Yeah, but
They're practically just 16 rounds.
But we don't have to worry about them. Just worry about practicing Krishna consciousness sincerely. And Krishna saying, Machuchan, I will take care of them. I will take care of them. Don't concentrate on it because it becomes more heavy. becomes, the obstacle will grow if you give more attention to it. Give attention to Krishna, and Krishna will take care of it. He will purify your heart, and you will get realization. But therefore, the chanting and the hearing must be combined. That the chanting helps the hearing, and the hearing helps the chanting. It's combined. Also, you worship the deity and you chant. If you don't chant, you will not get Brahminical initiation to chant, to worship the deities. No, you must combine them. And Krishna will give us mercy. Of course, we have all our inclination, and according to our inclinations, we may be more attracted to deity worship. Others want to do book distribution, others want to cook. It doesn't matter. Do it for Krishna with all your heart. It's such a variety. Okay. Thank you.
Prabhuji, I know that you are going to talk about this tomorrow, but can you briefly tell us how Krishna will take care of us? Like, I know you're going to talk about this in tomorrow's talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, very briefly, like if you have to.
Well, the point is that if we surrender to Krishna, Krishna will take care of your purification. But our purity or impurities in our heart for everyone are different. So Krishna has a specific plan for you. And if you surrender to Krishna, Krishna will let you go to that plan. A plan you need for your purification, according to your nature. That it will be clarified tomorrow with examples. That's the point. That we are individuals. Yeah, like you can see, we have all different fingerprints. No one is the same. Everyone is different. We have a unique relationship with Krishna. And Krishna will take care of you in your own unique way of your condition. That he's a specialist doctor. Good. Thank you very much. Chandra Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.